Hey, welcome back everyone. We're going to take a look at some things that I got in the mail. So I finally decided to take the plunge into the 15mm models, and what I did was I ordered some models from Zvezda. I could go into a really long story on why I went with Zvezda, but basically what it was is they were selling them cheap, which meant I got to get a few so I could just kind of play around with them to see if I like them, if I can make them fit my rules. So I ended up getting 4 of these Panzer IV models, and then I got 4 of these T-34s. The only thing I didn't quite like about the Zvezda for this particular scale was most of this is early war, kind of mid-war, early war, mid-war, so not a whole lot of like Panthers and Tigers yet. But those will probably be on the way. Now I'm sure some of you may have searched YouTube and so you might be familiar with these Zvezda models. If not, let me go ahead and bore you with some details while I open one. So Zvezda, they've been making models for a really long time. They're a company from Russia, and they have, I'm going to say recently, I'm not quite sure when it came out, sometime in 2012, but they released a war game, Operation Barbarossa, which uses a system that they developed called the, I think it's on here, Art of Tactic. So this Art of Tactic game, and it uses these 15mm scale tanks, and it also uses, interestingly, it makes a scale 1/72 or the 20mm scale infantry. So I thought that was interesting. So when you get one of these vehicles, there's one in a box. It's, open it up. So there's like your assembly instructions on the back if you want, or assembly instructions here on the paper. I mean, they're very simple little models to put together. And then a little kind of history about the vehicle there. Well, actually it's not about the vehicle, it's a little bit about how you can use this component in their game system. So this is the T-34 we're looking at. Here's a little Zvezda card. Cool. Letting you know that they have more models. They do all kinds of scales, genres, not just World War II. And this is what the Art of Tactic card looks like. Just to quickly show you, every model that they make comes with one, so if you play it with the game, great. If not, you can set it aside. But since I've got several models, I might just kind of make my own homebrew rules using the cards just to say, hey, I tried the Art of Tactic out. And then here's the model itself. So 1 sprue, 5 parts for the T-34. 5. And they do cut off the sprue real easy, and it assembles pretty good. So if I was doing like a review, kind of, one component that you'll see here as part of the review that comes off is this flag. And so far a lot of my 20mm kits and things, none of them have come with a flag. It attaches from the bottom, and this is part of the Art of Tactic game, but you can write down the unit identification number here on the flag, which I think is brilliant because I've been trying to think of ways to do that with my 20mm scale tanks. I know you can write the model number, like, you know, the unit number on the side of the tank, but it was kind of cool to have it on the flag that attaches to the model. So I opened one of the T-34s earlier, and I stuck it together. They do go together pretty well, but since it was my very first Zvezda model, I broke it. I'll explain how I broke it here in a second. But, you know, just kind of looking at, I don't know how well and detailed you can see everything, but there's your tracks, the wheels, and it just fits together pretty good. So the pros, if you will, 5 pieces, they go together really quick. If you bought a bunch of these, you could easily have a little army on your table in no time. They're fairly detailed. They don't have a lot of options, but what comes on the tank, though, you can see like little tow cables, little extra hatches and things. They're not bad at all. Shovels. It probably would paint up real nice. Now, some of the drawbacks. Here's some things I didn't like. One, there wasn't really any extras. It only builds a T-34 as advertised. I was kind of comparing this to like the Plastic Soldier Company, where it would be, you know, you'd have a lot of options. Even Battlefront, they include a lot of options, so not too many options. And I'm not gonna, I guess I can't say it's bad. It was really my fault. I did not properly clean out this inner hole here where the turret goes. The turret has a tab on the inside, maybe not a tab, but it's got a part that you just insert into this turret housing hole peg, if you will. And I didn't clean it out, so when I attached my turret to the body of the tank and twisted it a few times, it pretty much broke the sprue. So, you know, no biggie. The tank works. I can put it on the table and, you know, rotate. When I blow it up, it just pops off. No problem. So on my later builds, I made sure that I cleaned out that turret housing before I attached the turret. And so the turret fits a lot better and it still comes off. I just took a X-Acto blade and kind of trimmed out the inside. And then the further builds went together just fine. So from the sprue to one of these in a matter of minutes. But taking it off the sprue is good, but here comes my other complaint. Yeah, it takes like 5 minutes to put together, and it takes like another 10 minutes cleaning it. If you're going to use this for wargaming and then paint it, look at how many attachment points they have for each piece and the tracks. Oh, it's a pain in the butt to clean out. Not too bad on the turret, one attachment point. But look here, I mean, there's just, so you have a lot of nibs you got to clean out. And the way they did it on the tracks, it's annoying because the nibs where they attach are like right in between the track tread. So you got to really get in there and kind of dig it out just to make it look somewhat clean. I mean, and it eventually turns out, and I don't know if you can see in here, but you know, you can see where it was attached at multiple spots. Here, here. I don't know how to make that come in focus, but just all over the place. Eventually you kind of clean it out. Once you paint it, you probably won't notice it, but it just took a lot of time to clean it. So yes, from the sprue to a finished model, just a matter of minutes. But to clean it, real pain. My wife was so nice, she went ahead and opened up the Panzer IV. Panzer IV, similar deal, you open it up, advertisement card for the Art of Tactic game. I mean, if you're just curious what these boxes are, unit stats, and then on the back you assign orders, you pre-plot orders. So it's kind of cool because it plays on a board game. I won't be using the board game, but I mean, you just plot like what hexes you're moving to. It's kind of neat. Look it up on YouTube. So here we go. Open the box, another. This is part of the Art of Tactic system. This Panzer IV, the D version, early war. Oh, the model even looks a little different than the picture. I'll show you here in a second. But this one comes on 2 sprues. And if you notice, right here on the tracks, lots of connection points. So it took me forever to really clean these tracks out. But again, very simple. It goes together in a matter of minutes. There's the flag for unit identification. It's not too bad. If we look at the finished product, it's not bad. I mean, you know, paint it, put a little dirt on it for weathering, and you've got a great... My wife's driving one in. And here they come. She's got another one. There you go. T-34's had it. There we go. Oh, she's setting up the war. And I'll tell you, this is why I'm going with 15mm, kids. Not permanent, but as an alternative for my small play area. I can fit a lot of vehicles in a small area. And now she's... Alright, well that's my wife's opinion right there. You know, she told me that truly size does matter when it comes to gaming. And the 20mm, as far as between these, is definitely king as far as the size. But again, we've already covered that a lot, I think. But before I bought a 15mm scale, I really did not know comparatively the size difference. So for those who are curious, I mean, wow. These are tiny. My wife was like, they're so tiny. How can you play with that? She wants something that's got a little heft. So if you've been curious, the difference in scale, 15 to 20, 20, 15. But the reason why I went with some 15s is because I can fit a lot more on my limited playing area. Yeah. So look at that. You can get one 20mm model is virtually the size of 3 of these. So when you're talking about lining up on a table, you give yourself a lot more opportunities for maneuvers and stuff if you have a small table. If you've got a larger table, go with this. And my wife completely agrees with me that we need a larger table, but we also need a larger house to accommodate the larger table, which is going to come in time. So she has accepted that in the meantime, I can go with some 15mm. But let me talk about the Panzer real quick. One thing I didn't like, even though it does snap together, it has these huge gaps between the body and the hole here. Let's see if I can make that focus. Probably not. I see people do this as a focusing trick and I never get it to work. There it goes. There's huge gaps and every single model was that way. Other than that, it's really not that bad of a little model, but the box shows a nice flat front here and I don't get that. I have an indent. So it's really hard for me to justify and pretend that this is like a Panzer 4G just because the hole here looks so much different. But what's nice though is it does include the bow machine gun right there. It sticks out. Whereas on my T-34, I have a spot where it should be, there's just no machine gun. So just little things to think about. But if you want some cheap models, go with this. That's why I went with this, the cost. They're basically, it was $3 per model. Plastic Soldier Company, which is where I'm going to start buying my kits because they actually make the tanks specifically that I want and they're much more customizable. But they're like 26 bucks a box for 5. And I spent all together, including shipping, $30. Well, it was $29 even to get 4 Panzers and 4 T-34s. So that's 8 models. You know, price-wise, at some point, the Zvezda is going to work out perfectly for getting individual stuff because they make a lot of single models for vehicles that I want that Plastic Soldier Company hasn't made yet. So if I want some one-offs, I'll go with Zvezda. But when I'm going to start getting some kits, so I have like 5 and 10, I'll get Plastic Soldier Company to fill the bulk. But just a quick rundown before I sign off. Here we go. The sprues. The finished product, and what it should always be, according to my wife. I know your wife may vary, but this is the one my wife prefers. So until she gets me the bigger house, we'll go with 15. She's gonna cradle her. Yeah, she's cradling it. Anyway, that's enough. Alright, thank you all for watching. And I'm going to show you, once I get my 4th tanks built, we're going to show you some, they say never work with animal or children. Sometimes you probably should not work with your wife. She's laughing. Alright guys, I will see you later. I'm going to show you the project I've been working on, my special war game rules here in a little bit. And I'll show you why I want these smaller tanks. Anyway, have a good one. See y'all later.